The Acolyte, episode 8. Uh, yeah,
I've never been so happy for my entire life for just finishing the episode.
this was it's kind of funny because the way the show went about itself was pretty interesting. Because like in the last episode, we had so much about the backstory, the thing that happened 16 years ago, and then here we just gotta get it to the end.
To be honest, I kind of expect that because I've seen the Mando finale, the Ahsoka finale, the Obi-Wan finale, the Boba Fett finale. Well, except for Andor.
If I could do it again, I'd wake up early and be fighting.
You can stay. Still, Acolyte still surprised me as a finale. I didn't expect them to just go this direction.
Yeah, there's so much like power creeps in this universe at this point. Like the show does like way too much with what Jedi can use the Force for, to the point where like I really don't know where the limits to these things are. Like for example, the Jedi can like basically go to a crime scene or go to a location where other Jedi were or anything like that. Not even Jedi at times. And they could just like hear conversations as to what happened. And then you could probably say like, oh, maybe they just like it's like they're listening around, but like it's for the audience to hear that what happened there. But no, it's like when you see Vernestra on Brendock, she can hear the conversation between the sisters and the mother and all that stuff and what happened, and she knows what happens. I don't know. It's like I find this really bizarre.
And also the fact that if she can hear something like 16 years ago, why can't she just hear something like 10 minutes ago?
Yeah, and that's just ignoring the criticism we've had for all Disney Star Wars, where all the planets seem very close to each other.
If you look at this episode, what the fuck did they introduce when it comes to force ability? To be honest, I would not be surprised if they say I can force time travel now. Actually, I think that's what happened in Ahsoka episode 5. But
There's just so much like Force related stuff that happens. The biggest example is like how easy it is to read minds. That's just something that's been like introduced since Force Awakens, but I feel like the show goes about it like way too far, to the point of like read somebody's thoughts, know word for word what they're thinking, and it doesn't matter. Like there is nothing you can do to stop it. But then there is kind of a way to stop it because, like, I mean, according to Torben in episode 7, like he says that he is able to block the Force switches after getting infiltrated the first time. Like when you keep adding things like this, it's like it gets kind of absurd, to the point of how did nobody in the prequels ever like succumb to this kind of thing, which wasn't a problem originally. So
mm,
there's that.
I mean, in episode 5, they're like, Milo Ren was like, hey, if I take off my helmet, you can read my mind. The implication being that even someone weaker can read someone stronger, which is like that's not how it works.
It seems like with like you don't even have to know the person is there. Like at least in Force Awakens, Rey was like bondaged up. There's like a direct contact at the very least of trying to read her mind.
I'm so lonely. So afraid to leave.
I mean, obviously Rey reading Kylo's mind back is really cringe, but it is what it is. But like here, it's like you don't even need to be next to each other, and you can immediately know what somebody's thinking.
And the other problem with that was like, oh, if you can read Milo's mind, why don't you just read like May and Osha's mind?
Yeah. So this episode goes right back to how episode 6 ended with Osha wearing the mask.
She
So,
does something like her mom did in a flashback.
so it's like she's choking on dark magic. I don't even know if that's what
What?
she's doing.
I'm not
Uh,
sure.
Basically, it's like so the stranger he's watching Osha as she's like breathing in the mask, and then she's hyperventilating. So then the stranger's trying to see what's up, and then all of a sudden his eyes turn black, just like how Torben's eyes turned black when her mother took over his mind. But that's not what Osha was doing. Apparently, she was seeing a vision.
Miss May. She had her hand outstretched. She was killing souls.
And that's what happens. But like, we don't know how this happened. I mean, Osha, this is like the first like forced witchery that Osha did in this entire show.
She doesn't even use her power well in the previous episodes. She even failed to fight Mei in episode 5. I was like, oh, wait, suddenly you can just do it because the helmet just make you focus more on force and just like, yeah, that's how I do it.
This is the future you saw.
Oh, you can actually see the future of the force.
Sometimes you have like a precognitive character, but like usually what they do is like if they can't control it, it usually happens like randomly, which obviously every time that would happen would be a contrivance, sure. But it's not like this has been a thing that's been happening throughout the show where she would randomly get a future vision or something like that. Now, somebody might say it's like, oh, she was seeing May, like guide her to places or things like that, but that's not really the same thing. And plus, that doesn't really come into fruition moving forward. It's like, remember like earlier episodes, you'd see like a child May run across, and this is before like Osha even knew May was alive.
What was that about?
Yeah, that just went nowhere. Oh, maybe that was just like that precognitive thing of where you see like a figment of your imagination leads you to something that will be important for the future. I mean, even then, it's like it's a whole magic system that never gets explained, and then it never comes back really. And then this new episode has like a bunch of new magic in it going nowhere.
This is literally just a few minutes in the first episode. Literally the first scene. And also the fact that if Osha can see the future, shouldn't all the Jedi can see the future? I mean, at least Yoda, he should be able to see Order 66 coming by that logic.
And I don't even know if it's because she's a Force witch. Even then, it's like the Force witches have just been very off, like in terms of a concept, in terms of how much they have in abilities. What is the limitation to these? It's just a bunch of mumbo jumbo at this point.
And also the fact that Stranger knows that she can see the future. This should be an even common thing to have occur.
Yeah, and honestly, like we don't even know like what did the Stranger see when his eyes turned black, because at least for when Torben had it, like we saw what was going on in his mind, where
You are a strong and good Jedi.
who she just met. We don't really see what the Stranger was looking at when his eyes turned black, what was going on in his mind, or hear that point of view. So I don't know. It was choking him out too. I don't know, but like that, it's just really weird.
I mean, it's like Rey in The Rise of Skywalker, where she just suddenly just do force lightning out of nowhere. I mean, I don't think even Osha knows what she's doing. It's like, oh, I can just use the force so hard. I can just pull any other force ability out of my ass.
That's essentially what happens. Like she just tells the Stranger.
But the future isn't fixed. I can still stop her.
So the two of them have to go and deal with it.
And next scene, it's I think the Soul and Mei scene.
Yeah, this is like Soul kept her restrained on the bed. She just had like a thing in her wrist that opened the thing.
Why don't you just check her body and just find out there's a droid there that you can untie her? Why don't you just remove it out of her body? And he said,
There is a version on this planet. Now that you and those are both alive, I can prove it.
I was like,
This
no.
is the thing I don't understand. Soul wants an audience. So he sends like a beaconing call to the Jedi, so that because apparently he's trying to prove that the Virgins does exist on this planet with Osha and May. I just don't see what the benefit of this is.
And the other thing is, you have proof. Remember, in episode 7, their midichlorians count is literally the same. They say,
even identical twins would have different symbionts. This is impossible without some kind of manipulation.
this is literally the proof you need to show the council.
And then even worse, the killer of those 8 Jedi is still out there. Now, obviously not all the Jedi know that. But for Soul, I mean, the Stranger is still out there. I don't know if it's a safe idea to expect one bringing Osha and May to this planet where Osha's in the custody of the Stranger. So if Osha is on her way to Brendok, then probably so is the Stranger. And then you're bringing a bunch of other Jedi who have no idea about the Stranger at all. A lot of people can die because of you. Soul has been really weird in this show.
Yeah, I mean, he also
I will contact Master Vanestra. The Jedi will meet us here.
I was like, wait, what the fuck are you doing in episode 6 then? Why don't you allow them to contact you if all you wanted is to contact them to pick you guys up?
Honestly, confessing to the council is like the way better option at this point. Like, I really don't see the benefit of this conversation happening on Brendok with a bunch of other Jedi. Why can't you just do this in the council, confess to your crimes in a safe location, talk about the stranger being the Sith? But that's because we don't want to contradict the Phantom Menace.
I mean, they did it already, so oh well. So, and here's the thing: if you really think about the plan, Soul needs Osha and May on this planet to work, but he only has May. How does he expect Osha to also be on this planet?
The funny thing is, you don't. Osha will have a Force vision of her own and conclude to herself that we need to go on Brendok to save Soul and May. So yeah.
This is writing.
Yeah, and then like obviously this other thing is Osha has just like completely accepted the stranger as somewhat of an ally to a point where yeah, I mean like let's go to Brendok so we can go save Soul from May. Why would the stranger want to do that?
So,
It's the whole thing about threatening
there's
your existence kind of thing. If you remember in
Yeah.
episode 5.
yeah, it's I mean he just responded with, oh well, I wear a helmet. Well, fuck that shit.
He did. Then he took it off. Before Osha and the stranger leave, there's a little bit of a cameo. Somebody's peering out from a cave. Apparently, that was Darth Plagueis the Wise. Yes, the
Yay.
very Darth Plagueis the Wise.
It's in Chimere's planet, which is like, wait, what is he doing the entire time?
Just watching. He's the Watcher. This is before the birth of Palpatine, by like 30 years, I think. You know, this same show where Ki-Adi-Mundi is not supposed to be born either, but he is. People are theorizing that this manipulation or whatever, like, you know, the whole thing with the conception through the Force thing is obviously going to inspire Anakin. Maybe. I mean, obviously, none of that is like proven. The implications are pretty there.
If Darth Plagueis lives on this planet, he must have not this planet, this island. So it's even worse. He should have known Chimere, Osha, and May. So he should have known the information. It's like, oh, they're created by Force shits. This is not even a theory anymore. This is literally a fact.
Yeah, it's like you could assume that Chimere is probably his apprentice right now. And honestly, his entire methods of I want to, but then it's kind of weird too because he says that he's operating on his own terms, kind of a thing, which obviously he could be bullshitting to Osha, but if he's not, then what is Plagueis doing on this planet? That's one. And two, Chimere operating on his own, and then this kind of thing where he wants an acolyte where they kill Jedi without a weapon.
Probably the writer didn't just think of, fuck, I need Darth Plagueis, just throw me on the island. Oh, what's the implication? Fuck you. I'm not gonna tell you about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of mystery boxes that are unopened.
Yeah,
And
by the way,
I know Leslie is really egging on for a season 2 to explain some of these things.
no, how about you explain everything you set up for season 1 first? Like, you know, who the fuck is Chimere? I got no idea.
Never explained. Outside of like, you know, the obvious, like I was a Jedi, I got backstabbed, and then here I am.
Oh, okay. That doesn't explain anything, but thank you. By the way, this is the same thing with some weird dialogues.
Did I give you the impression that I was a fair person?
I made a deal with my sister, and you expected her to uphold it. I'm not my sister.
So that's why Chimere is trustworthy and why Osha trusts him now. It's like, what the fuck? That doesn't explain anything. And what's the deal anyways? That's a deal? It sounds like you're commanding May to do things.
Yeah, it's a poor attempt at trying to get the hero and the villain to team up, but I really don't understand why. The only thing I could say is like Osha wants to go and save Soul from May, and Chimere is only tagging along because he kind of has to. She is his prisoner. But like even then, it's like you don't really feel that either. So I don't really know what they're going for. Once they do land on Brendok. They do separate out.
Well, wait. Why did they suddenly land on Brandok? May stole a ship, and
Right.
May
Okay. That's right. She goes to Brendok herself, and
and
then
she.
Soul follows after in his own ship.
Do you remember where did they fly into? It was like like the ring from Saturn.
Oh yeah, something like that. It
It's
does
like
kind of look like that.
yeah, and so May flies into. I don't think it's believable that your ship cannot be hit by anything. But what is even more unbelievable, it's Soul's even bigger ship decided to fly into it. Instead of, flying above it to just chase after her, it's that easy. But now let's just crash the entire ship into the rings thing. To make things even worse, Basil, the mole creature that is supposed to be on Jedi side, decided to sabotage Soul's ship. Remember, Basil actually tried to stop May in episode 6, and Soul's ship is fine for landing. They ruined Basil, and he doesn't even speak.
But yeah, they both end up on Brendok, and then shortly after, Osha and Kymir end up on Brendok because all the planets are very close to each other.
How convenient.
And then obviously Coruscant, the people there will come to this planet too very shortly after because all the planets are close to each other. So the guys pretty much split up. Osha is trying to open this door using mechanics, which is honestly kind of funny because like the last episode we see like these guys just like don't use the doors at all. They just know how to sneak in and out very easily. And she's saying, "Oh, you need to go through this door specifically, otherwise it's impossible to get in." That's not true.
Yeah. And now I just wonder, what does May want? Because May wants to kill Soul in episode 6, and now she's just running away and just run to the fortress.
Yeah, so she's gonna reveal what she wants very soon, which we'll get to.
Again.
Yeah, every episode is a very new desire. Osha is trying to open the door. That's where Kymir leaves her. May and Soul are inside, but then they split up to a point where, Kymir finds Soul wearing the helmet and all.
It's like, oh, fuck the timing.
Yeah, so they fight.
Yeah, how exciting. I mean, also, by the way, the choreography is so shit. Remember, they literally levitate when they're falling on the ground. I mean, I know it's slow motion, but it looks so stupid.
Yeah, but they do the hallway shot where the lightsabers are slashing up the hallway, like in episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. So
Isn't it so
I remember
cool?
that.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Why can't I just rewatch episode 3 again? And episode 3 isn't even good.
It gets to a point where the fight gets to a point where, but yeah, it got to a point where they do like one of those slash into things, nothing happened, and then you see something happen, like an anime. And it turns out that Soul broke Kymir's lightsaber.
I was like, okay, I don't believe that because Kymir literally killed.
I really feel like Kymir would have killed him in that.
Yeah, which is like, wait, yeah, because Kymir literally killed every Jedi in episode 5. I do not understand how the Soul beat him.
Soul's that guy. Not for long though.
Yep. Oh fuck, we have to talk about what is Soul and Kymir scene is intercut with, both Vernestra and May Osha scenes.
To do Vernestra first, since it's a little smaller.
Yeah.
Vernestra is told that Soul has opened up his transponder. He's on Brendok, and then she has to bring in as many Jedi as you can that won't alert the Council. As like
why?
What? And then you see the number. There's like about like 14, 15 Jedi that go to this one planet that doesn't alert the Council.
And the other thing is, do you remember there's a scene she's talked to the Senate, played by Martian Manhunter and Supergirl.
Supergirl, look out!
He's not the Chancellor, but like he's pretty high up in the Senate.
Yeah. So
What have you heard?
That you are running a murder investigation without reporting it to the Senate.
I don't know how this information got leaked, but if the information got leaked to the Senate, Shouldn't like Yoda or everyone got leaked as well? There's a line in the scene was like,
How can you know there is no larger threat?
All the victims were Jedi.
what you basically said is there is a larger threat, and it's so powerful you can kill Jedi.
Yeah, and I also want you to include this line too.
I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion. A delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable.
It's like, yes, I know that is true, but it feels like including an internet meme and putting it into your show, making that canon, makes things weirder when it comes to moving forward. Especially with how many problems the Jedi Order has at this point, and it will get worse moving forward.
If the Senate is willing to confront for Nashra about it, why don't you just tell Yoda? This is clearly so severe. He should be alerting someone much higher up.
But yeah, we have the scene with Osha and May. They're just repeating things at each other.
All because you didn't want me to become a Jedi. I didn't do this. Soul lied to you. He blamed me. Soul never blamed you.
Even things like this doesn't really add up because, like, honestly, Soul lying does not really matter. It doesn't really matter to. It shouldn't matter to Osha, but it does. Mainly because, like,
My hatred of you, my grief over our mother. So I never became a Jedi. Soul killed our mother.
no, even if Soul didn't kill the mom and the sister are still dead in Osha's eyes, quote unquote. Even if that's not true, they're still gone in some capacity for 16 years. So that emotional baggage that Osha had back then is still going to exist whether had her mother killed by a lightsaber or not. So I don't really understand like why this is the point to explain, yeah, this is why you're not a Jedi because Soul lied to you.
Osha knows that May burned down the entire fortress.
Yes.
Why isn't she holding her accountable for that?
She was a kid, basically.
To be honest, if my 8-year-old cousin burned the entire building down, I was like, no, don't blame him. He's just a kid.
When all this fighting is happening on for the 4 characters, this is like their attempt at episode 3 with Sidious versus Yoda and Anakin versus Obi-Wan and all this stuff. So yeah, this is I understood the parallels.
Yay.
And yeah, the ship comes over, all the fighting stops, May runs away. May can like teleport out, but like we're kind of used to this thing nowadays anyway.
Yeah, and by the way, Osha can fight on par with May. When in episode 5, May clearly overpowers Osha with no effort.
Right.
So how did Osha become this strong? Remember, in this episode,
We should be trained. Would you ever consider?
No.
When May is outside, Soul has his lightsaber on Chimere. Chimere doesn't have a weapon on him, so Soul can't kill him. May comes in, strips the lightsaber out of his hand. It was that easy.
even Soul's Padawan can beat May in a hand-to-hand combat. And in episode 2, Soul beat May's ass without needing a weapon.
They need to get to this shocking scene. The thing that will get people to talk about it on Twitter for 3 hours. Soul decides to talk about what happened. Which honestly, I don't really know why, because he already told the story to May, so I don't really see what the benefit of this is. May is like,
You killed our mother.
If I was Soul, I was like, okay, you burned your entire family down, and your mom tried to kill me, tried to kill you.
even though Indara killed the other mother, they don't even acknowledge that. It affects the narrative if you talk about it.
And he could also mention that, oh yeah, if I don't kill her, it's like, yeah, Osha is gonna be burned alive because of you.
With Soul, they really want to show that he has no point at all. He has a point. They just never bring it up. And that's
Yeah.
always the problem. And then because this thing makes it worse, because Osha heard what Soul said, asking is this true? And then
I did everything because I love.
I mean, it's so stupid because he could just say, your mom tried to kill you and tried to let you burn alive, but fuck it. And instead of just like asking,
right, she's choking him. Of course.
yeah.
They did such a poor job, like trying to justify her descent to the dark side. Yeah, Soul dies. like just like that.
You know, just like
And all this
Jodo.
stuff. Yeah, and so on over his corpse,
Yeah.
Kymir walks over to give put a hand on Osha's shoulder. Osha tries to strike him. Doesn't he backs away. So, but then as it happens, her lightsaber starts to bleed. Yeah, the kyber crystals, they go from a blue color to a red lightsaber.
Fuck it. Just fuck it. Let's do that.
Yeah. So Osha is on the dark side. How do you feel?
I feel like I'm impressed. I could not believe you can character assassinate a non-character.
This is my main thing. You have a TV show. You have an opportunity to tell 8 episodes of if you wanted this good, pristine character who seems to be the yin to May's yang in terms of personalities, and you wanted to corrupt her to become, an acolyte in the end. I don't really know why we spent all this time not trying to set that up, not trying to develop it, not trying to justify how it happened outside of the fact that Manny Jacinto has good muscles. That's practically the reason. So yeah, fuck it.
Fuck it. Writing is hard.
This is where Kymir and Vernestra see each other through the Force, where he puts the helmet back on right after. It's like, oh, it's you. So yeah,
I mean,
so this is something everybody predicted back in episode 6 when we saw his scars with the whip marks on his back. That was her Padawan.
yeah, so fuck it. Yeah, but no, fuck it. We got set up for season 2, I guess, if that ever got made.
Yep, and that kind of
So-
leads to pretty much the final conflict where May and Osha run to the tree. Kymir disappears because Vernestra is on her way. So they find Soul's body, and then Vernestra tells everybody to split up, look for the girls and all that stuff. Kymir is like watching over her from that distance, so I guess he's wearing his helmet, so there is a bit of a safety procedure. So I guess there's that.
Yeah,
But he does disappear very easily.
yeah.
And he finds May and Osha very easily, and he even comments like, "If I found you this easily, the Jedi will find you too."
Was like, yeah, why didn't you sense them?
Yeah.
And do you remember the dialogues in that fucking stupid scene between Osha and May?
Sorry I didn't believe you. I'm sorry I started.
Neither of them show any regret for killing Soul. Soul has been a father for Osha for a while, so it's like,
As the Jedi are on their way, there is a suggestion that they need to leave somebody behind. Now, my question is, why don't you just take both of them? Take both of them? Well, because of the rule of 2. So I need to have an apprentice, and there's only 2 of us allowed. So one of you have to stay behind. It's agreed that May has to stay behind.
My question is, why don't you just drop her in another planet?
Because the simple thing to do is Kymir suggests to erase her memory.
Fuck you!
Yeah, so we have the ability to use the Force to wipe somebody's entire memory. And as she states later that she doesn't remember anything since she was 8 years old. So she lost 16 years of her life in terms of memory. The last piece of memory she had was something that happened 16 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, so you could just do that with the Force.
Yeah. Yeah. What if someone can just do this with the Force? Why don't everyone just do this with the Force at this point? Darth Sidious don't even need to just control the council. Literally just wipe everyone's mind, and that's all you need. All you need, just wipe Yoda's mind. It was like, yeah, now you're just my apprentice now. So listen to all of my command. and kill all the Jedi for me.
Basil connects with the Jedi.
Yeah,
Didn't really
I guess-
help. But he was the one that's sniffing out for Osha.
And
They
and
end
it's
up in
like,
that yellow tree that they used to like when they were kids.
I mean, but like the track doesn't end there.
Yeah.
I mean, and by the way, all the Jedi should be able to sense Osha and May. I mean, I get Kaimi because he has the helmet, but but not Osha and May. Just sense them.
Yeah. No. Yeah, they find May. May is confused because she lost her memory. And then they take back to Coruscant. So you're gonna end the search here? Are you sure you don't want to check for more people around in the neighboring areas of the planet? I don't know. It's just I don't know. You just seems to give up pretty quickly, looking for Osha and Chimera. Because
be
I would
honest,
assume you should probably think probably both of these girls were on this planet, Osha and May. Where did Osha go? Don't know. Will we try to look for her? No. And then
but
not to mention, obviously, Chimera. Because Vanessa knows Chimera is on this planet.
I mean, by the way, she did it before he puts on the helmet, so she should be able to sense him. Actually, why didn't any of the Jedi sense other people? Why is it only for Nestra? May is the one just
Do it.
but she's the one who's like,
Let my sister go, and I will train with you. Are you sure?
yeah, I want to be let go, but by the way, it erased my mind and left me here.
Yeah, they do have like a sister's hug and all that stuff, crying, "I will look for you again." That kind of thing, which is standard, I guess.
Yeah,
but like
standard.
I don't really feel anything at this point.
Yeah, I just want them to die at this point.
Yeah, and then this is where everything on Coruscant happens, which is where Vanessa talks to the Senate, who has been like basically a counsel for the senators, especially explaining that
A rogue Jedi named Sol killed his accomplices to maintain the cover story.
It was the work of one flawed man.
I believe he ended his own life.
Why did she lie?
I guess they did not say May was the killer at any point. I don't know what does that gain? Like, why not explain May unless like you're worried about this information going out about Force witches? But even then, like she does explain the Force witches.
Yeah,
She says very clearly that Sol killed Torben, Indara, Kelnaka, and the witches.
I mean, and at least two of them are bullshit. Andara and Torben.
Right.
For
Kelnaka's not true either.
Yeah, if remember, Andara is witnessed by the bartender.
Mhm.
And he will be like, yeah, that's clearly so. It's not the entire assassin. There's a ton of eyewitness. Torben one.
There were still some witnesses there. Kelnaka, no witnesses at all. Fair enough.
Well, except for Basil. Basil arrived at the crime scene. Yeah, Basil arrived for the crime scene way before. So,
But then we learned that actually Vernestra is interested in the fact that May has no memory because she wants her to work on finding her apprentice who has turned. So I don't know. What do you gain with someone with no memories since they were 8 years old?
No Santa House will be like, wait, so how did Sol kill 10 Jedi at once again?
But like I would say, yeah, that's it's just super convenient. You just kill these particular Jedi and the witches, and then you just commit suicide. It reminds me of Hawkeye. Like you're saying the person who did that was the person that's actually dead, Black Widow. That's kind of convenient.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just reminded me of that.
For Nastra was like, oh, apologize to an 8-year-old me. I was like, oh, the Jedi are flawed, which suck, blah, 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 blah. But
I need you to help me find someone, pupil of mine, before he turned to evil.
So.
Sorry to disturb you, Master.
Drum roll, please.
We need to talk.
This is a bizarre sequence of events. First off, she lied the fuck to the Senate. And then she's like, I'm going to go and tell Yoda. everything. I guess like lying to the Senate is kind of like to keep damage control, but I don't know. Is that really damage control when you say that you're a rogue Jedi that was like a trusted Jedi for 16 plus years?
No, clearly
And
not. I mean,
yeah,
remember Attack of the Clones? You know, Count Dooku is Yoda's apprentice, and he's working for a Senate. Now he's a Sith Lord, and no one actually hold Yoda accountable. Remember, this is public knowledge in Star Wars that everyone knows that Count Dooku is Yoda's youngling, and he basically just kills everyone in the galaxy.
I will be fair just to comment right now. We don't know what is going to be said to Yoda because it cuts to black, and that's how it ends. Obviously, teasing for the next season, which is working very well on Twitter. Of course, it was.
Yeah.
Because you got Darth Plagueis and you got Yoda in the show, so
Yeah, and they just
there you
leave
go,
it.
guys.
They just like, we just gotta leave it fake, so no one's gonna criticize it until next season, of course.
And obviously, like there could be a possibility that she lies to Yoda, which good luck with that.
If for natural, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna lie to Yoda. You know, Yoda, the smartest Jedi in the galaxy. Let's just assume that she's gonna lie. What is she gonna lie about?
I mean, she has a lot of explaining to do. It's like, first off, you frame Soul to the Senate just to keep yourself safe and not admit that it was your pupil that turned to the dark side and became a Sith. So there's clearly some selfishness out of you using your dead friend to save yourself from that kind of criticism. And then, secondly, and more importantly, you're going to go to Yoda with the intent of, trying to get this through. And ultimately, it's like, so what was the part where it was okay to blame Soul, a dead man, for everything that happened? The reason why all your Jedi are dead. I don't know. Just none of it tracks.
And remember, Yoda can sense things across the galaxy. He can sense that Anakin is killing the Tusken Raiders. And something's clearly wrong, so it's like, oh. So you could do that. So he should be able to sense like, actually, I don't think that's happening. Blah, 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 blah.
Yoda's 800 at this point, so he's not an idiot. He's in his prime.
I mean, it's like, if they ever get a season 2, we gotta look at what are they gonna do that. But we gotta assume that there's only one season. This is the implication. She's gonna tell Yoda everything.
Well, yeah, that kills everything else in terms of its storyline.
Yeah, and so the Sith is not extinct. By the way, season 2 is gonna have Darth Sidious, according to Leslie.
That's impossible. Unless the show is set 30 years later, where Palpatine is a baby.
Hey, maybe.
He's 52 in Phantom Menace, but, they didn't care about Ki-Adi-Mundi's age, so they're going to do something bullshit. Let's say, oh, he was young back then, and the reason why he's still 52 is because he died and he transferred it, he made a clone of himself, and the thing you've been watching this entire time was a clone of Palpatine. And then he clones himself again in Rise of Skywalker. That's how they justify everything.
Fuck it, let's do it.
So yeah, that was The Acolyte, episode 8, The Acolyte.
So which has the worst finale? This one, Ahsoka, or Obi-Wan?
This one, Obi-Wan is like, so I guess I'll briefly talk about each one. Obi-Wan's is bad because like it does so much to explain why Obi-Wan should kill Darth Vader. It does everything in its power to explain that he should kill Darth Vader, but he doesn't. You have Obi-Wan explain, like, I need to kill him this time properly, no matter what. And then Darth Vader even says,
You didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did.
I really hate when villains explain, or villains or like mentor figures explain why the hero should not have guilt that they had before. So really stupid. But this one is structured really badly, like The Acolyte, for sure.
Yeah, to be honest, this is the most spiteful one. It's like this is.
But then even Ahsoka's like, we're talking about a concept of like hyperspacing through galaxies.
that
Yeah.
finale, it's like, oh fuck. Sabine can just do Force shit. Fuck it.
Yeah, and I mean, at least with that one, there's kind of some attempt of setting it up. But then, like, it's like one of those things where like they try to set that up, and then, like, in the final episode, she's like as good as a Force user as everybody else,
I mean,
despite being a novice. But like, that's not. I mean, at least there was an attempt there. OSHA doesn't have that in this
no,
show.
she just did it because fuck it. And by the way, Soul just want to die at this. Oh, you're not gonna try stopping it.
Yeah, I don't like force choking a Jedi. That's kind of. I don't even know if you could do that. That means Soul really did try to kill himself. The finales are bad, but for their own reasons. Which one is worse? Probably this one. Mainly because it affects so much moving forward with the prequels. And like everything moving forward past that. Kenobi is like, it's bad. It does affect the original trilogy entirely. But I guess the Acolyte does affect the prequels and the original trilogy moving forward. So that's the thing. Like all these things affect the future, whereas Ahsoka is kind of safe in that regard because it's leading into the sequels. But like that's not as big of a sin. Yeah, I'll say the Acolyte is worse.
Yeah, I think the Acolyte's worse than, to be honest, the Ahsoka finale. Has a lot of plot problems. Like, the Star Destroyer hit any of the Jedi riding horses.
Yeah, and I was rewatching the Ahsoka finale. It baffles me that like they had a scene where Hera and Ezra like with each other, and then Ezra is like moving in for the hug, but it does like that swipe, so you don't even see the hug, and cuts to the next scene. It's like, what kind of, isn't that supposed to be like an emotional moment for Rebels fans? That was really dumb. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Rebels, so I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And then
And
I remember like Kenobi putting all of this effort to make sure Luke is unconscious so that he doesn't know what a lightsaber looks like.
Yeah.
You had to keep to that one thing in canon.
Even that Luke will be like, wait a minute. I remember as a child, there's a person who has a glowing stick try to hit me.
But he was unconscious, so I guess that's fine. Who cares that like Obi-Wan tried to kill Vader again 10 years later before A New Hope, and yeah, who cares about that? Yeah. Who cares that Leia's looks up to Kenobi like a father, but she didn't seem to care that much after A New Hope because she didn't know him that well.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Writing is hard, guys. I mean, you can just not write that, but fuck it. I mean, if I ignore like connecting to the canon, Acolyte definitely the worst structured. So.
But yeah, that was the Acolyte and some additional conversation about the state of Star Wars. If you like these videos, subscribe to the channel for more of that content. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye, guys.